Good afternoon.
Yeah, well, of course.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the Grand Rapids Community College Board of Trustees meeting on Monday, May 20, 2024. And you may notice that Dr. Lepper is out for some scheduled time. We've encouraged him to utilize that for some rejuvenation. And so we do have Vice President for Finance and Administration, Lisa Freiberger, helping to lead us through tonight's meeting, in addition to some other things. Something else that I just want to mention on the onset of this meeting is that while I was away healing, I had our Vice Chair step into some meetings. And so some of the things that you might normally see the chair do, I won't tonight, not to slight anyone, but just to keep a clean line of her finishing what she started and me not to fumble the ball. And so when you see Trustee Kathleen step up for the swearing in session, it's just that. I want it to go perfectly. And so with that being said, do any of the trustees have any guests in the audience that they might want to recognize? Okay. Then I will, and you do, don't you? And so I wanted to make sure they got an opportunity first, but I will ask the Vice President of Finance and Administration to introduce Executive Director Erin Van Egmond.
Yes. So I'd actually ask Vice President Von Egmond to come to the podium and introduce our new Executive Director of Communications.
Thank you and good afternoon, Board of Trustees members. It is my pleasure to introduce to you one of our new employees, Lindsay Post. Lindsay is our new Executive Director of Marketing and Communications, and she comes to us with some industry experience and higher education experience. She previously worked at some local agencies for marketing and advertising, and then also at Davenport University. So she started with us at the end of March and has already hit the ground running. So I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to meet her, put a face with a name, and I'm sure you will see her around campus. So thank you.
Thank you.
For the next, I would actually like to,
Yeah,
if it's
please
all right,
do.
move around just a little bit.
President Freiberger is going to highlight, sometimes we have heroes that don't wear capes, right? And so we had something special happen, so take it away.
We did. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the flexibility to allow me to come over here. We had something frightening and extraordinary happen on our campus. I would like to ask Chief Whitman and Whitney Marsh to come join me at the podium here. While they are coming up, I would like to take the opportunity to actually read a letter on behalf of Dr. Lepper, to give you a sense of why we're here before you. And then we'll ask Chief Whitman to take it away from there. And with that, this letter from Dr. Lepper says, Dear Whitney, upon recommendation of Police Chief Rebecca Whitman, you have been selected to receive the Civilian Life Saving Award for your heroic actions on April 15th, 2024. You and others were playing basketball in the Ford Fieldhouse when one of the individuals participating collapsed on the floor. You quickly recognized the situation as a medical emergency and directed others to call for help while you ran to get an AED. You took control and properly activated the device, provided directions and instructions to others, followed up by performing CPR until the victim actually regained consciousness. Once EMS arrived, they took over care and transported the victim to the hospital for follow-up. Victim later reported that doctors told him if not for the immediate shock from the AED and the CPR, he would not have survived. Your quick and decisive actions were responsible for helping to save the life of a GRCC community member, and it is with great pride that I thank and commend you for your actions. And formal recognition, the letter says, will happen at this board meeting. So Whitney, thank you very, very much.
And I did not want to cut that applause short. So we also have an award and a certificate. The GRCC Civilian Life Saving Award is presented to Whitney Marsh for your quick and responsive actions on April 15th, 2024 that helped to save the life of a GRCC community member who experienced a cardiac emergency. read the words on the award because it's already been read twice, but so the board can see it.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
So she can display it. I know that the gentleman in question has been very much an advocate at this point for AEDs and moving training forward, both here at JRCC and in the private sector in his life. So I know this is probably not the end of what we're going to hear about this event, but I can't even say enough. I've seen the video, and she was absolutely incredible.
Wow.
So, thank you.
Wonderful. One more time.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. That's the best. And so our first order of business today is the approval of the agenda. Trustees, please note that this is the time to remove an item from the consent agenda for separate consideration if necessary. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections of the agenda? May I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now we will open the meeting up for public comment. This is the time that the board will hear comments specifically related to today's agenda. And there will be an additional open comment later in the meeting that allows for public comment on any matter. I do not see anyone coming to the podium, so I'm going to advance to the next thing. In our special order of business, the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation. VP Lisa Freiberger will call Chief Whitman and guests to the podium.
Yes, thank you. And would certainly like to recognize Chief Whitman, Officer Myers, and our entire GRCC police team for the amazing process that they have worked through. To share a little bit more about that and the entire accreditation process, I will ask Chief Whitman to come forward and introduce our guests.
Thank you again. Thank you for having us. I am going to ask that Bob Stevenson from the MACP come forward and let him explain accreditation. I was told not to take his thunder.
One of the few times the chief took directions. He's probably more used to giving them orders. So thank you, Chief. I appreciate
You know
that.
me far too well.
Yes, I do. Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Board of Trustee members, GRCC audience, and community members. My name is Bob Stevenson. I'm currently the Executive Director with the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. I spent my police career, 37 years of them, with the city of Livonia, which is just outside Detroit. The last years, I was 7 years, I was chief there. And in 2011, I moved over, and since then, I've been the executive director with the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. And I'm here today representing the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission for the awarding of Certificate of Accreditation to Grand Rapids Community College. I think all of you are very proud of your police department. You were proud of them before this process started, and you should be even more proud of them at the end of this process. My agency, when I left, was not accredited. They've since gotten accredited, and it's a better agency. When you had a good agency before, having gone through this process, I'll guarantee you, they are a better agency. I think that all of us recognize that the last few years, there's been a lot of turmoil within police agencies. There have been some calls for police reforms, and I think all of you and the public should take great pride in knowing that every single one of the police reforms that you've heard called for, your police department has done. And they started this process before a lot of those calls for reform started. A significant professional achievement. It's a fully transparent program. The public can look at the program and see what your department has policies and procedures on, all online. Let me put this a little bit in perspective for you. So in the state of Michigan, they're just shy of 600 police agencies. Of those 600 police agencies, 83 of them are county sheriff departments. Another just shy of 400 of them are municipal police departments. And then the rest of the police agencies in the state are made up of colleges, such as GRCC. We also have hospitals that have police departments and tribal police and such that are out there. And in total, it comes to just less than 600. Of all of the police agencies in the state of Michigan, your police agency is the 75th to attain accreditation. Or to put that in a little different manner, your department has attained what 85% of other police agencies in the state have not attained. I'm very proud of them. They're the third community college in the whole state of Michigan to achieve that. Congratulations, Chief. It's, again, a significant professional achievement. I look forward to the day that I'm doing this and I'm awarding this to the 589th police agency, and they're all accredited. But right now, thankfully, we have people such as Chief Whitman here that are leading this and taking this forward, and her staff. So with that, I started this by saying we're here to award this certificate. We don't give them out. It's a lot of work, and I would like to call up our Deputy Director of the Association and the Program Director for Accreditation, retired Chief Ron Wiles. Chief?
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and to celebrate your fine police department. As the Executive Director Stevenson said, my name is Ron Wiles. I'm the Deputy Director with the Michigan Association Chiefs of Police and the Accreditation Program Director. I did my law enforcement career at Grand Blanc Township Police Department, serving the last 6 years, having the honor there to be the Chief of Police in Grand Blanc Township. You are all somewhat familiar with accreditation. There's a lot of professions that have accreditation. You know, if you're sick, you go to an accredited hospital, and clearly in the university and college setting, you're familiar with accreditation. Law enforcement is no different. Accreditation is a progressive, time-proven way to increase and improve the overall performance and service of a law enforcement agency. Now, the foundation of our program lies in the voluntary compliance of 108 professional standards. Now, the key word there being voluntary. No one is making anyone do this. They do it for the sole reason of making their police department better so they can better serve the community in which they are in. Kind of let me walk you through the process of what it took to become accredited with our program. And the first step, for whatever reason, seems to be the hardest step for a lot of agencies to get over. It's just making the decision to apply and move forward. But under the leadership of Chief Whitman, your agency had no issues doing that and was able to jump into this process with both feet and get it started. The second step in the process, this is where all the work is done. We call it self-analysis. We give departments 2 years. As mentioned, it is a lot of work and takes quite a bit of time to get through this process. During that 2 years, they look at their current written directives, their policies and procedures, and they compare them with our 108 standards. Now, in those standards, there's also a bunch of bullet points. And if you add up all the bullet points, agencies are responsible for about 600 tasks that they have to successfully complete in our accreditation program. Now, it's one thing to say you're compliant when you're looking at your written directives and the standards and making sure you're compliant, but it's another thing to show that you're compliant. In accreditation, our program requires that agencies show that they're compliant by pulling these things that we call proofs. Now, proofs could be anything. They could be videos, they could be police reports, they could be documents of the college or university. But when done, they have nearly 600 of these proofs. That leads us into our third step. Third step is, when they're ready, they contact me, and I send out a team of assessors, trained assessors, from outside the area, and they do a top-to-bottom review of the agency. Again, comparing the agency's written directives with the standards, make sure they're in compliance, reviewing all the proofs. Also during that time, they talk to a lot of people. Some of you may have been involved in the interview process. But we also know that ultimately, this is to better serve the community, better serve the members of GRCC in this case. So they also offer a call-in period or email period where members of the college or university can call in and give their input on the police department, good or bad. I'm proud to say that in this case, we received no negative or bad calls about the Grand Rapids Community College Police Department. It was all very positive, and not surprising the more I learned about the university. At the end of that, they do a debrief with the chief and the accreditation manager, so they have a pretty good idea where they stand when the assessors leave there after they do their review. But it takes us to the fourth step in the process. The fourth step is the accreditation team goes in front of the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, and they're asked a series of questions by the commissioners on that panel. Usually about the police department, about the final report, specific programs that they may have here at the college. All those things are fair game, but really they want to learn more about the college and ensure that they are compliant with all those 108 standards. Up to that point, the college has made a promise. They've made a promise to the officers at the police department. They've made a promise to you as the Board of Trustees They've made a promise to all the members of the GRCC community. Now it's time for them to keep that promise. And to keep that promise, that leads us to our fifth and final step, reaccreditation. So in 3 years, I'm going to send another team of assessors out to GRCC to do another top-to-bottom review of the agency to make sure that they are compliant with all the standards. Now, there will be a few changes this time, though, because now we have 128 standards, not the 108 that they were originally accredited. The majority of those additional standards are specifically related to colleges and universities. So it's very fitting for GRCC. So again, I couldn't be more proud of what they've accomplished. It is a significant amount of work. It's certainly a significant professional accomplishment. And Chief, team, well done. And with that, I would like to introduce our current president of the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police, Chief Kyle Knight.
Thank you. Hello there. So my first order of business is every time I get the opportunity to do this, I try to steal the accreditation manager to Harbor Springs. It's beautiful up there. Tony, $20,000 signing bonus to move up north because that's a lot of work. The accreditation process is a lot of work. And the other thing I want to, a more serious note, is kudos to you guys and ladies for sponsoring and allowing them to do this. Number one, it's a financial burden. Number two, it's a timely burden for the police department, and it exposes you, it exposes your department. And with your foresight and allowing Chief to do this, it's a huge undertaking. So kudos to you guys for sponsoring this and encouraging them to go ahead and get this accreditation certificate. So with that being said, to who all sees the certificate and know that the Grand Rapids Community College Police Department, having voluntarily complied with the standards established by the Michigan Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, deemed essential for the delivery of professional police services and the protection of their community, is hereby awarded the Certificate of Accreditation effective this first day of March in the year 2024 for a term of 3 years. And the key word here, and Ron hit on it, is voluntary. They did this voluntarily. Nobody told them they had to do it. They volunteered to expose their department to all this work, and it's kudos to them. So congratulations, Chief, and your crew.
So I'm not going to take a ton of
Can
time.
we have all of your officers stand?
I was going to ask that next. I wanted my accreditation manager to step forward. Everybody that's here, would you guys please stand up for me? Because this is about them. They did the work. Tony was our accreditation manager and continued to assign tasks, proofs, things like that to everybody in the department. It took a group effort to make this happen, but without his leadership, we'd still be trying to figure it out. So I am eternally grateful to Tony Myers for leading this charge for us. So I'm going to give this to Tony. And all he really wants is the stickers for our cruisers. Thank you.
Congratulations. So we have 708 more reasons to thank our Chief Whitman and her team. Thank you so much for that. And don't go too far. Let me tee up Trustee Kathleen Brunsma, who will swear in Officer Geerling. So I'll ask Chief Whitman and Officer Geerling to go to the podium for our swearing-in process.
Chief Whitman will introduce us to Michaela Geerling, who will be swearing in today.
So you heard her name, now you've got her face. This is Michaela Geerling. She comes to us from Allegan County. She is a 2020 graduate from GRCC's Police Academy. So in addition to being an alum, she was an alum during a COVID year. So I'm sure it was different than some of the rest of our academy experiences. But she lives in Granville, so she's local, and I'm going to call up one other person because he's going to be pinning her badge on, and it's retired police officer Paul Colson. And Michaela came to us because Officer Colson is working part-time in Allegan County and saw the excellence in Michaela, and when we had an opening, he called and said, I have a person for you. So I would like to thank Paul for encouraging her and talking to her about our family, and now we're going to go ahead and swear her in.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michaela Geerling, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Grand Rapids Community College Police Officer according to the best of my ability. Congratulations, Officer Geerling.
Thank you for letting me take over the board meeting.
That's okay. You have 708 reasons why you should excuse. Thank you. Thank you.
Real sad. I love it.
Feel less safe now.
Okay, thank you. And here's what's next. Our Vice President, Lisa Freiberger, will give us a little information about Michigan News Jobs Training Program agreement with Hex Armor.
Yes, thank you. And what I have for you is a resolution approving our First Amendment to the Hex Armor MNJTP or New Jobs Training Program Agreement. Hex Armor started their program in 2019 and then hit some delays related to 2020 and COVID. So they are requesting a one-year extension. Their current contract expires in June 1st of 24, and they would like a one-year extension to June of 25. The total contract is approximately $350,000. They do have a revised training plan and are confident that they will be able to get that work done based on the fact that we did have COVID in there and that really impacted their ability to provide that training. I would recommend consideration.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve a one-year extension with the MNJTP agreement with Hex Armor as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. A second? Support. Any discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries. So the next agenda item is related to board policy revisions. And there were several that the board grappled with. Emergency executive succession, which essentially means that our president will ensure that there are always at least 2 senior executive members who are aware of board dynamics, interactions, and it's basically a guarantee for shared leadership in the case of an emergency. Financial condition was a policy that we wrestled with, and that is basically ensuring that we're good stewards and not letting anything go left, as some people would like to say. And then the governing style, which relates to we are a board that engages in policy governance, and there's a clear distinction between the operational side and the governance side. And so we're more visionary, and we allow our brilliant team to take care of the day-to-day operations. And then we also talked about meetings in terms of what needs to happen and how those things should go. And so with that being said, may I have a motion to approve the revisions to the 4 board policies as presented?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. And next, I'd like to call up our Controller for Financial Services, Todd Hurley, to the podium, please, for a finance update. And did I miss an opportunity for you to tee that up?
Nope, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's got it.
Okay.
Good afternoon. In your packet for review were the financial statements and an investment summary for the month of April. The April financial statements have been updated to reflect tuition and fee revenue for summer 24 enrollments, along with the proper deferrals of revenue for next fiscal year. Latest enrollment reports show billing units for summer up by about 12% compared to the same time last summer, summer 23. So both tuition and property tax revenue have been trending above budget for the last several months, and we expect to come in with some excess revenue at June 30. Expenses are in alignment with current expectations, and we expect to also see some under expenditures compared to budget, probably pretty consistent with prior fiscal years. April debt payments were also made and are reflected in the statements. And we continue to actively work on the full budget for next year, and we'll bring you our final recommendations next month. Next month, we'll also bring you the millage levy resolution for your approval. Preliminary information from the county indicates really a strong overall increase in taxable value due to taxable growth as well as new additions. So we are going to expect to see a slight decrease in our millage rate due to the Headley rollback. So just kind of as a refresher, the Headley rollback requires local units to reduce their millage rate when annual growth on existing property is greater than the rate of inflation, or 5%. So since the inflation factor used was 5.1%, coupled with property transfers, which uncap that taxable value even more, we are going to see that increase greater than 5% and be subject to that. So our millage rate will go from 1.7085 to 1.6951, which is a less than 1% decrease, 0.8% to be exact. So we'll bring that to you next month. The state revenue estimating conference was also held last Friday. Discussions were a bit of a mixed bag. I'll just give you a real brief summary. Unemployment is low, but the number of job postings is kind of cooling off. Corporate income tax figures are strong, but sales tax collections are down slightly. So vehicle sales are also expected to increase in the coming years, but the Detroit 3 market share right now is basically flat. So overall, state revenues are up. The state aid fund is slightly down. Now, the state aid fund is what funds community college appropriations. However, when we combine those two, the general fund and the school state aid fund, it's really a net positive. So there are some resources available in the budget cycle for next year, and we would expect to see our budgeted increase in state aid, which was also passed by the Senate earlier this year, of 2.5%. We'd expect that to remain unchanged at this point in time. And then we're hopeful to see hopefully a budget deal in place sometime in June. So that's all I had for today. But if you have any questions, I'm happy.
I
Sure.
would love to know, I mean, I realize that going from 1.7085 to 1.6951 in our millage is a slight, but can you share with us how many consecutive rollbacks we've had? Because I feel like we've had a number of them.
We have. Actually, last year we did not, which was one of the first years that we haven't. But yeah, I mean, based on that estimate, I think it for us, it means about a little over $400,000 in property tax revenue. So it is significant, but we are seeing, robust growth, property tax growth, and so that kind of, is a very positive factor. So despite that reduction, we're still overall going to see a significant increase in property tax revenue.
Thank you for that. And just so I'm clear, the $400,000 total is the difference between 1.7085 and 1.69.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can you share what our total annual loss is between our original millage of
Original.
1.9?
Yep, 1.9 is about $6.6 million. So, yes, very significant.
Thank you.
Yep.
Please, any other questions? Thank you so much.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
And under Roman numeral 3, you'll see a host of different reports, and I do not believe we have any reports at this time. Oh, okay. And so let me check. Roman numeral 4, community connections, and again, I don't believe we have any at this time, right? All right. And so our next item is an action item, purchasing items over $100,000. May I have a motion to approve the purchases over $100,000 as presented?
So moved.
And did we get the second? Did you get the second? Okay. All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. We're at the point in our agenda where we will open the meeting up for public comment. And please come to the podium and state your name. I'll remind the audience that all comments are limited to 3 minutes, and the board will not respond to comments at this time. And so upon your starting, Mrs. McClure will start our 3-minute clock.
Well, good afternoon, Board. My name is Micah Perkins. I've had the opportunity to speak to a number of you on the phone. I've met with a couple of you. Good to see you. It's really cool to come in when the accreditation was done. That was awesome to see. As those of you who I've spoken to know, I'm running for GRCC this term. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself, and just for those of you who haven't had a chance to talk to me, I'd just tell you a little bit about myself. My first interaction with GRCC, like most homeschoolers, GRCC was the first point of connection to public education for me. And I was really impressed, although I did not do well in the accounting class my dad took me to. It was a really cool experience and really kind of warmed me up to GRCC as a place. I'm a certified educator through the state of Michigan, although when I graduated there weren't any teaching jobs at the time. So I went into the military, did that for a number of years, and then when I get out, I decided I wanted to do something with my hands. I'm terrified of electricity. So that led me to be a plumber, and that's what I'm doing right now, which led me to my second point of connection to GRCC, which is I have an associate's from your HVAC program. So why am I running? Very quickly, and Dr. Lovely Mitchell pointed this out, I should have some bullet points ready to discuss, so thank you for that. We're bringing my daughter here next fall. And like a lot of parents, campus security is a very big deal to me because of that. It's unfortunate that we live in the world we do where we have to be worried about that, but it's a fact of life, and I would like to be part of that conversation. I bring a lot of experience both through the military and the skilled trades, and I feel like those are communities that deserve to be represented here. Not that they aren't represented, but I feel like a good representation would be myself. And finally, I would like to continue to ensure the long legacy that GRCC has played as a great on-ramp for disadvantaged communities and people who don't normally have great points of access to either prosperity or higher education. So that's kind of me. That's who I'm running with. I look forward to chatting with you maybe a little after, but thank you for your time.
You.
I'll do it right now. Thank you. And so let me go back to Roman numeral 5. I believe it is. Is that right? Yes. Consent items. There was a time where we officially were supposed to do that, but I went to the next item. So now this is the time that we'll move to approve the consent items. May I have a motion to approve the consent items as presented, please?
So moved.
Thank you. In a second. Thank you, Kenyatta. And all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries. Well, one meeting we will get through me doing them all in order. But let me open it up now to see if any of the trustees have any final board comments for tonight. Go ahead.
Attending the cadet graduation for the police academy is an overwhelming experience, as we all can attest to. these young folk who go off into a field that has been denigrated and demeaned is remarkable, both last year and this year. It would be heroic under any circumstances, but in this milieu, it's even more so. And so I am honored to be affiliated with an institution that has a police academy, that honors its police academy and cadets, and that allows us to protect our families as they protect us. Thank you.
Thank you. Other trustees?
Tomorrow night, my niece, Anya Brown, will be graduating from Ottawa Hills High School, and she will be attending GRCC in the fall. And she's just been expressing all the excitement about the next point of the next journey in her life. And I'm just happy to say that GRCC will be part of that. So I look forward to her being here and me being able to watch her go through that wonderful journey.
Nice, thank you. And any additional comments? Sir? Okay. And so thank you for a great meeting. Thank you, staff, for all the hard work that you do every day on behalf of GRCC, our students, and one another. And the meeting is adjourned.
Nicely done.
Thank you, sir. One day I was great.
You get it done. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's getting done. Don't worry about it.
Fabulous.